And welcome back to Law and Crime. We're going to take you live right now down to Lower Manhattan. We told you that the jury got released earlier today in the Weinstein trial. Our Jesse Weber is out of the courtroom now. Jesse, we have you live with us. Just give us an update. What is the latest from this morning and the afternoon?
Yeah, hey there. Short day, but important day. After the powerful testimony of Miriam Haley yesterday, where she said that Harvey Weinstein performed a forcible oral sex act upon her, it was up to the prosecution to corroborate that story. So this morning, we heard from a woman named Elizabeth Enton, who was the former roommate of Miriam Haley, and she talked about how she lived in that East Village apartment with her. She developed a very close relationship with her, and a lot of important details. First, this witness talked about how she recounted the first time she herself met Harvey Weinstein at an event at Cipriani's. She said that Harvey Weinstein actually pulled Miriam Haley towards him, grabbed her by the stomach, pulled her close and said, "This is the hottest woman I know." She then moved on to when Miriam Haley called her while she was out of town and said, "Harvey Weinstein just burst into our apartment." You'll recall this was actually mentioned by Miriam Haley yesterday. And she said, what a comical moment today in court, she said that Miriam Haley told her that her dog, this small little dog, actually chased Harvey Weinstein around the apartment and that he seemed to be afraid of this dog. Now, here's an interesting part. As soon as court ended today, when Harvey Weinstein was leaving, he was being asked a bunch of questions by reporters, and one of the reporters asked him, "Harvey, are you afraid of chihuahuas?" He said, "Do I look like I'm afraid of chihuahuas?" Just a comical moment in a really distressing case. And then she moved on to the really important part here, the sexual assault. She claimed that Miriam Haley one night came outside of her outside of her doorway, and told her about what happened, that Harvey Weinstein sexually assaulted her. She went into graphic detail. She recounted those details today to the jury. Enton said to Miriam Haley, "That sounds like rape," and she encouraged her to get a lawyer. She also described how Miriam Haley became very withdrawn and nervous after this event. Well, you can imagine under cross-examination, Donna Rotuno wasn't going to have any of this. And I got to tell you, this was very combative, and she was highly defensive in her cross-examination. In fact, I have to tell you that at one point, Donna Rotuno actually had to ask the judge to intervene in order to get this witness, Miss Enton, to answer her questions. She was providing a little too much commentary. She was pressed about allegedly not telling prosecutors or the grand jury about her meeting with Harvey Weinstein before what she said today in court. She was also told that you're the one who encouraged your friend to get a lawyer, but you didn't tell her to call police. You're the one who put that idea of rape in her head, that you labeled it that. She also was pressed about the fact that you never followed up or checked on Miriam Haley, your supposed friend, after she told you this. That she also was asked that you didn't ask Miriam Haley these seemingly routine follow-up questions, including, why did you go to meet with Harvey Weinstein, Miriam, when you said to me, you called me and said that he entered the apartment, he burst into the apartment. She was also asked a lot about that she admitted she didn't recall or didn't remember or didn't know that Miriam Haley had these alleged contacts or communications with Harvey Weinstein after this incident. Now, here's an important part to remember. While she was testifying under cross, she kept reiterating the phrases sexual assault, rape. She kept pressing those points, even though that wasn't what she was directly asked. She kept putting those in her answers, and that was one of the reasons it was such a tense exchange between Donna Rotuno and Elizabeth Enton. Donna Rotuno trying to get the answers that she wanted, and Elizabeth Enton adding a little bit more commentary to it. So it was an interesting day so far with that witness, but then we heard one follow-up witness I want to mention really quickly. It was a director from Getty Images. She was called by the state in order to have it published, a bunch of photos from 2006, 2013, these times in question, just to show that Harvey Weinstein was pretty powerful. It was him with celebrities at big events, to show this power imbalance between Harvey Weinstein and his accusers.
All right, Jesse, thanks for that update. We also were expecting to hear from another accuser, Tara Lee Wolf. And I believe we're now likely going to hear from her tomorrow. Can you just give us a quick preview, her background, why she's important here?
Absolutely. So she's one of those Molyneux witnesses who is being presented to establish that this was a conduct of Harvey Weinstein, a pattern. This is a common scheme of his. And based upon what we heard in the opening statements, she is going to say that Harvey Weinstein basically harassed her at Cipriani's where she worked. This escalated to her meeting him and him sexually assaulting her. Very disturbing account, what we're going to hear, including what we heard in opening statements, that there was somebody that worked at Cipriani's that might have facilitated this harassment. So it's going to be an interesting day, important for the state in order to present this witness. Another big day in the Harvey Weinstein trial, as we can imagine.
All right. And one last question. We heard from Mimi Haley mostly yesterday and obviously heard from her roommate today who corroborated her story. Did you get a sense that her story was pretty similar and was on par to what she said a few years ago in that press conference that she came out and really announced this the first time?
Yeah, the details seem to be generally consistent. Obviously, this was pressed upon by the defense attorneys. But the big thing today with Elizabeth Enton, her roommate, is that she was questioned that she didn't know anything about these contacts with Harvey Weinstein afterwards, that she didn't know that Miriam Haley was allegedly trying to get a hold of Harvey Weinstein, that she was flying out on the Weinstein Company dime, things like that, which provides a glaring hole in her testimony about what she did know and what she didn't know, or if you believe her. The other way is if you don't believe what Elizabeth Enton said today, then she purposely didn't bring that up or said she didn't know what it was. So it's those glaring errors or those inconsistencies that the jury is going to be asked to pick upon. The question is, despite inconsistencies, despite facts or details that are ultimately left out, is that enough to show that these witnesses are not telling the truth? That's going to be up to the jury. It's a credibility issue with every witness. But I got to tell you, out of all the cases that we've covered, sometimes you can tell what a jury might be thinking at the end of an opening statement or the beginning of a case. I think they're going to wait to hear everything that's presented, and they won't come to a decision or really deliberate until after those closing arguments.
All right, Jesse, thanks so much. We look forward to more of your reporting. Thank you for being on the show with us today.
Appreciate it. Thanks again.
All right, back here in studio, we're with Corey Stern here. Let's talk about what we just heard from Jesse. I know you have a background in sexual assault specialty here. Your thoughts so far on the Weinstein trial?
Again, it's going to be, a jury's going to have to weigh a lot of evidence. And so if you have a juror who believes that this woman who testified yesterday truly was a victim of rape, then they're going to look over and really not consider with too much granular detail some of the inconsistencies for something that happened over a decade ago. If you have somebody who's coming into this or feels as though they believe that this may be a terrible human being who's done some terrible things, but his conduct isn't rising to the level of that which would put him in jail for the rest of his life, they may see those inconsistencies in a completely different way, in a much larger way. And so until a jury really hears all the evidence and gets back there in a room and starts deliberating, it's hard to say what exactly they're thinking or what exactly is going to happen. I think it's very plausible that the young woman who testified yesterday about what happened to her when she was an aspiring actress and wanting to produce, the fact that she went back to his apartment weeks later, the fact that she took a ticket to Los Angeles and flew on his dime, they may see that as somebody who is really trying to stay in decent graces with someone who has so much power in the business. Alternatively, maybe they see it as somebody who, despite the conduct that Weinstein showed during their first interaction when he performed what she said was forced oral sex, they may see her as somebody who was willing to continue engaging in that kind of conduct if it furthered her career. And so having a witness like the one that testified today to corroborate at least the initial testimony, that initial interaction, that's very good for the prosecution.
Right. That's going to bolster her story and their credibility altogether.
Right.
All right, Corey, thanks. We got to take a break right now. When we come back, we'll continue to cover more here on Law and Crime. Stay with us.